Good morning, or maybe even early afternoon for some of you folks that are joining us here on our call, our webinar today. My name is Lisa Lashendro. I am one of the annuity marketing directors here at IMES, and really grateful for your time and joining us on our webinar. I also have Rob and Casey on the phone. They are going to be running running the webinar today. We're going to really talk about the federal program that we have with these preset appointments, and Rob and Casey really do a great job in running that program for us here at IMES that we've partnered with them. But to kind of get going, I want to let you all know, feel free to throw in questions. We love the interaction that we get from our audience when we do these webinars. That's how we know what you're interested in and to see if this is a good fit for you, things like that. So don't be shy. Just type in your questions, if you wouldn't mind, in the question box there, and we'll be happy to jump in, and I'll interrupt Rob or Casey, and we'll have those discussions as well. We don't really have a slideshow or anything when we get to the presentation, so if you just see the IMES screen, don't be surprised about that. With that in mind, I'm going to tell those folks that are out there that I've never been on one of our webinars before, don't know much about insurance agency marketing services. I'm going to give you a 10,000-foot view of what you're getting here when you're working with us here at IMES, and I'll go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to make sure everybody can see my screen. Rob, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Yes, I
Okay.
can, my dear.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. All right. So to start out, we've been around for over 35 years, started with Charles Seniors, and now Steve Murray runs the shop here. We're that family feel kind of organization. When we say the IMES family, we really mean the IMES family. And we like to start our new relationships out with our producers with a bonus or a thank you, you might say. And we call it our new producer builders, growing your production. So you'll know that when you're working with IMES, we are wanting to wholeheartedly put money back into your business to continue to grow your business. That's that partnership I'm talking about. So when you start your production levels in the first 180 days or first 6 months, you can go as high up as you'd like for a one-time level, obviously. But first 100,000, if you want to just hit the $100,000 level, you can see we're going to dish out $750 in cash, or maybe an iPad, or help you out with a mailing to bring on more production. We keep going up to a $250,000 level, bumps up the ante there to a $1,500 gift card, $2,000 marketing piece, whatnot. And as you can see, it just goes on and on. Now, Steve Murray is awesome when it comes to thinking outside the box. If it is something that is not listed on here that you feel would be necessary or help you, improve your business or your business plan or marketing, throw that at your marketer, throw that my way, call Steve yourself and see, what we can do to help you with that, because we certainly don't want to waste your time or anybody's money. We want us to benefit you, not just be a gift that sits and collects dust. So keep that in mind, please, when you're hitting these goals. Next, we're in the business of referrals, right? You are loving referrals. Well, we do too, and we want to reward you for those. So every time you refer another producer, as soon as they contract, you get a $50 one-time bonus for that referral. As soon as they write their first piece of business, you get another $100. And then it just keeps going on up from there. If you're wanting to start an agency, we have another plan, and if you have something like that you're working on, don't hesitate to give me a call. Talk to your marketer about it. If you're already working with someone here, We have a lot of folks that are interested in starting agencies. We help them from the ground up on that as well. So keep that in mind as we work with our partnership here. Another thing that people just, one of the reasons that agents just don't leave us is our back office support. I mean, it is top notch, and the only way you're going to see that is by writing some business with us. But I promise it won't be anything you'll ever regret. Our experts, are all, company designated per company. So they have those relationships with underwriters and things like that that help get business through the door. We follow up with them every 2 to 3 days. And just think about how much time you would have on your hands if you didn't have to do all that follow up work, hanging on the phone, waiting for someone to answer, being on hold for an hour. We do all of that for you. And as you know, that is, time is money. So for us to be able to save you that kind of time and frustration is a pretty big deal to a lot of our producers and why they stay with us. So keep that in mind as well. And then I'd like everybody to join us on the IMS website. You can go to www.imsinc.com to register. Here you're going to, be able to collect excellent sales tools. We've got, term quoters. We've got annuity rate watch on there where you can select the best MIGA rates or FIAs or whatever you're looking for. We've got another our sales resource library, is extremely valuable. It's got sample things that you can put and post and sales guides and all sorts of goodies on there. So definitely encourage y'all to take advantage of that. Use it. It's free. It's out there for you. Also on our website, we have one of the best e-app solution programs out there, which is Firelight. None of them are perfect, but Firelight is the best of the best that we can find. So that's what we've got. And on Firelight, we have a majority of our carriers on there. A lot of our carriers now are offering additional commission for doing e-applications. So, always want to make sure you're asking your marketer, if you're really not a big fan of e-apps, once we walk you through it, I mean, we will hold your hand. We will sing Kumbaya with you once you get it done. But I've talked a lot of my agents into giving it a shot that are, you know, um, real dedicated to just doing paper apps, and now they're true believers. So if you would like to, get into that, or have somebody walk you through the first couple apps, just let us know. That's what we're here for. Just want to make sure that you've got that in the back of your brain, that it is available for you. Next, I want to talk about our IMS wealth management. So IMS, we started out life annuities. I mean, that's really, what our main focus was until several years ago, where Charles Sr. and Steve came to the conclusion that we need to be able to support the wealth management side as well. We want to be that one-stop shop for you guys. So we've got a lot of agents that are, looking at getting their 65 now. We've got programs for that. Or let's say you don't want to have anything to do with the security side of the business. That's fine too. We can help you with those clients to make sure those clients stay in your backyard. The nice thing about that is if you do decide to go and get registered yourself, we'll transfer those clients right back to you. So I encourage you to talk to one of our wealth management guys, Joan, Duncan, Zach, any of those guys will be happy to assist you, or call me and I'll hook you up with them myself. So know that we've got that ability for you guys as well. Okay, are we honestly going to start talking about traveling and trips? Yes, this COVID thing has been lingering around long enough. We have our Top Producer Summit that is scheduled for 2022. So we've got plenty of time to get you guys qualified for it. $4.5 million in points gets you qualified, and that's not hard to do if you get a couple $500,000 cases. But anyway, we're going to be taking off in Rome, stopping in several places along the way, and ending up in Venice, Italy. So not a bad trip. We're pulling out all the stops on this one to make up for having to cancel it last year and really want to give everybody a good time and for the hard work and the headaches that everybody's had to deal with during the coronavirus. So keep note of that. Next, I'd like to invite everybody to follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn, obviously. We try to keep that up to date. You can share our posts. You can, utilize, the quality of information that we give as far as sales techniques and pointers and, blogs, things like that. So I definitely encourage you guys to take a look at that and be part of that family as well. And that is all I have for the introduction for IMES. Now I'm going to pass it over to my boy Rob. He's going to give you the breakdown of our preset appointment program. And then, like I said, I would love for you guys to interact with this conversation. So jot some questions in there, and we will we'll move along. With that, Rob, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Absolutely. Hey, good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are, and we'll make it as painless as possible and kind of give you guys a little short overview of what's going on. Number one, I want to, tell Lisa, we've done quite a few of these together, and we've been partnered up with IMES for, I think, about 3 years now. Is that right, Lisa? Somewhere in that area? About 3 years, maybe?
God, seems like 10.
Yeah,
No,
I know. And, the one cool thing with these guys, just so you know, I know there's other IMOs out there and stuff, but hey, these guys offer a lot of support. They've been a great partner for us. I have Casey on the phone. He's our director or VP of our preferred accounts and heads up the whole sales team on our side. And so you might hear him chime in here in a minute. But, just in general, a couple things with IMES, you guys are getting a benefit through them. They've taken care of any of your sign-up fees for our platform, any monthly access fees, they're all taken care of. And then, of course, they offer a VIP pricing. And the price on these, for those of you that don't know, is a very reasonable price. I'm going to let Lisa and her team deal with that. But, at the end of this, the first question is, hey, how do I sign up? How do I get registered? You're going to reach out to the people at IMES, and they'll be able to take care of you. So a little bit about us, what we do. We're a tech company. We create appointments. One of those areas and one of our biggest growing areas right now is the federal market. And, a couple things about our system that are a little bit different for those of you that have been in the insurance industry for a while. You're probably used to a lot of lead companies out there. We're not a lead company. And, I always say, hey, why lead companies pre-charge you up front? It's usually because their stuff stinks, right? And you're going to give them $3,000 one time and probably never go back. So our system's a lot different than that. Number one, you've got no upfront cost. So running through IMES, you have zero upfront cost. We've got a deal set up with them where we actually bill you on the day of the appointment. So if we create an appointment for you today for next Tuesday, you would be billed next Tuesday. So that's number one. The other thing about that I think is really important for agents is, look, we don't want you to get distracted. You don't want to get distracted. We don't want you to be an accountant. We don't want to be one either. It's really nice that you can, sign into our system. You'll put a credit card in the back office. Like I said, we won't charge you until that actual day of the appointment. So that's number one. Number two, the other thing about our system and really what differentiates us over the other groups out there is, we never give away anything for free. So, in the federal market, we're pretty much loading up in the VA hospital systems. It's been a very, very, very profitable deal for, the agents that have jumped in that market. A couple things that are nice there is we're expanding, and I think Casey and I were talking about this yesterday. In case you may have an updated number, but I think we were around about 140 or 130, 140, 150 VA hospitals across the country that we already own data on. If you happen to get, signed into the system through IMES and you see, hey, my VA hospital's not here in the state of Colorado or wherever you happen to be, that's no problem, because of your, VIP through IMES. We'll go ahead and put you on a preferred list, and we'll go ahead and request that data and get it uploaded into the system as soon as possible. It's usually, you know, I say 7 to 10 days typically. We're probably better off saying 10 days to 2 weeks. But in 10 days to 2 weeks, you'll be up and running. And the cool thing about it is nobody else is on those campaigns yet because we haven't had the data. So one of the things that's really nice there, when we reach out to create these appointments, like I said, we don't give away anything for free. We don't give away iPads or, you know, gift cards or money. You don't have to worry about going out on one of these appointments and the person goes, hey, I thought you were here to set up my iPad. We just don't do it that way. So we don't want to get you distracted. We don't want you wasting your time trying to figure out how to pivot somebody, you know, from them going, oh, yeah, well, I'm not here to set up your iPad, Sally. I'm here to help you with your, you know, pension and retirement, right? So that's another cool thing about our system, the way it works. And then I'd say another big thing and where I feel there's the biggest opportunity is, you know, the two biggest challenges I hear from agents all the time, and Lisa probably gets the exact same thing, is, you know, hey, how do I meet a new client? You know, I have trouble meeting a new client. Well, you know, with COVID, it's probably a little bit harder meeting somebody, but that's usually not the problem. You know, I mean, you could sit down, you know, as the country starts opening up, you maybe sit down for lunch, somebody's sitting beside you, you're like, hi, blah, blah, blah. You know, they find out you're a financial planner, whatever it is. And, you know, now the challenge becomes is how do I get, you know, this person that I just met Casey. How do I get Casey to, you know, show me his finances? And that really is the challenge, you know, and I mean, I would bet you all each $1 million of everybody on the call, everybody has one thing in their phone. If you have a cell phone, which I hope you do, but somewhere in there, you've got a contact in there and it's somebody you do something with, you know, you go to movies with, your family gets together with them, you go to cookouts, whatever it is. But you've known them for probably years and years and years, but you've never got them to push their finances across the table. So what's cool about this is when we reach out to these people, we're like, hey, would you like to know more about your pension, your retirement? Would you like to know when you can retire? That's how we engage people. The other thing is once we get them engaged, yeah, hey, I do want to meet with the representative. We're like, great. We'll set you up with an expert in the federal pension market who's licensed in the state of Colorado, in my example at least. And from there, we actually make the client go in and schedule the appointment. So the client selects the date and the time. That makes it really nice, right? So they want to be there. They're the ones that are creating the appointment. The other thing, I think the second biggest challenge for financial planners is, hey, everybody I run into that has a job and has some income already has what? A financial planner, you know, and how do I get around it? And trust me, I've heard every line out there, you know, and it's like, you know, whether you've been in the industry for 2 years or 40 years, you know, the second opinion thing's great and all that, but it's like, you know, it doesn't hurt to have somebody else look at it, you know. Well, the nice thing is when you get into pension reviews for people, just in general, it's a neglected market. And I would ask all of you out there, hey, if you have a federal employer, a public employer, somebody that participates in some type of pension, they've been a client of yours, they're in your book of business, and how many pension reviews have you ever done? Probably none. And so that's where the big opportunity is, because most of these people, you know, 91 to 92% of the people that participate in any type of pension have no clue what they're going to retire with. And that's where the door opens, right? You know, hey, Sally, you told me you had a financial advisor. You just told me you think you're going to retire with $80,000 a year. Well, let me show you the calculation. You know, can you retire on, you know, $38,000 or $40,000 a year? Well, no, I can't. You know, or $42,000 a year. No, I can't. Well, then that shortfall is $38,000. So it makes it pretty easy to go, hey, Sally, I can't believe your advisor didn't go over this. You know, let me go through the calculation with you, you know, and then from there, you're like, hey, at the end of it, it's sort of good news, bad news, right? You know, hey, Sally Sue, client, right? You know, it looks like good news is you got a little over half your expectation covered, the $42,000 in this scenario. Bad news is you're $38,000 short. You know, hey, Sally, what do you or what did your advisor put in place to cover the $38,000? Well, we already know it's nothing, right? And so that's where the opportunity lies in that. Lisa, do you want to comment on that really quick?
Yeah, I mean, this is no different than any other appointment that you're going to be on. When you used to sit across the kitchen table with these clients, you're collecting data, you're setting up that second appointment with them. I'm going to have Rob give you the keys on the dresser story here in a second because he does such a good job of it, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Um, you still need to be a closer, and I'm just going to be blunt with you. I mean, these are not appointments where folks are going to be sitting there on the other side of the phone with their checkbook open saying, how much money can I write you a check for? I mean, we still have to use that sales process, the insurance 101 um, techniques. You're gathering, you're collecting data, and then you're showing them where the where they're lacking, where the holes are. So, with that, I mean, I think this is a good time to, go in with the keys on the dresser, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, a couple things, and we'll roll over some of that stuff, about second appointments and stuff. But the big thing, some of the agents have been challenged with COVID, and I'll just back up a little bit. Pre-COVID, we were doing about 98% of our business face to face. Now, keep in mind the client scheduling the appointment. So the client in this scenario was requesting a face to face appointment. Pre-COVID, we also had a bigger group, a lot of agents that were buying what was called a virtual appointment, and it was a telephone or a Zoom meeting appointment. That's what they were doing, and a few groups were being very, very successful at it. This is prior to COVID. Well, COVID comes down the pipeline, and of course, we see the pivot in our back office. The clients all of a sudden go from requesting face to face to requesting, everything via telephone, via Zoom. Good news, bad news. I mean, Casey laughs at me when I say this, and Casey's on this call, but I told Casey and the sales team, I go, hey, when this all started, a month into COVID, 2 months into COVID, I said, hey, look, you're probably going to have, I don't know, 30, 35, 40% of your clients come back, and when this is all over, and go, hey, I don't want anything but virtual appointments. I don't want to be out there doing, driving around, and I was way, way off, and I'm usually not that far off, but it's been about 85% of our clients. And for those of you out there that struggle a little bit, you're just like, God, I got to be in front of somebody. Like Lisa said, this first appointment's a fact finder. You guys have been on thousands of these virtual appointments, and people are out there going, huh, right now? Well, you're on a virtual appointment right now. This is a virtual appointment. The only difference is I'm the agent right now and you're the client, right? And so it's the same thing. I mean, when a carrier brings out a new product, what do they do usually? They have a Zoom meeting about it, and you've been on there. So you guys are familiar with the platforms. And, these clients are familiar with the platforms. I mean, like I look at Zoom stock, and I think the big thing Lisa said about the keys, I go, hey, I've said this to agents that have had a little bit of a struggle. Hey, how'd you get to your meeting before? And they're like, I drove, you dummy. And I'm like, right. You picked your keys up off the nightstand. You went out to your vehicle, stuck the key in the ignition, started it up, drove through traffic, right? And then you're face to face with a client, right? Business as usual. Well, the only thing you're going to do that's different now is you're leaving the keys on the nightstand, the car in the garage. You're going to go to the keys on your desktop or laptop or your phone keys, right? And that's going to start your new vehicle, whether it's Zoom meeting, GoTo meeting, whatever platform you would like to use that you're comfortable with, and or a phone call. And you're going to reach out to the client, and you're back to being literally face to face with them, right? It's the same thing. You're going to do that fact finder. One comment I would make, and Lisa said something about a second appointment, and this has nothing to do with has everything to do with our appointment system and nothing to do with it all at the same time, is, where I see agents struggle a little bit just in general across the board is they struggle making a second appointment, and you never leave a first appointment, whether it's one of our appointments or a different platform IMS offers you or a client you met through a referral. You never leave a first appointment without a second appointment. You got to know how to schedule one. And just little tidbit of training that I'll give you guys, whether you've been in this industry forever or not. Um, like I said, I've listened to every line out there, and some of them stink. Casey always gets on me because sometimes you're a little abrasive, and it's like, hey, we're here to help you guys, And so, the one comment I would make is, a lot of agents will sit there and they'll walk through and they'll go, hey, Sally, don't worry about your $38,000, shortfall. I'm going to get that fixed. I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to find out what the best upgrades are for you, the best options. I like the word upgrades because it's very common in our society, right? You get in the airplane, it's an upgrade. You buy a house, it's an upgrade. You get a car, it's an upgrade. I'm going to go back to my office, find out what the best upgrades are for you. Oh, that's perfect. And then the next line is, and I'll get back to you. You don't want to be on the phone dialing for dollars. That's not where you're productive, you know? And so, it needs to be set up right. It needs to be, hey, Sally, I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to find out what the best upgrades options are for you. Don't worry about the $38,000. We'll get that all resolved. I'm available this Thursday or this Friday at either 3 or 4 o'clock. Which day and time works best, right? A little bit of training for everybody. That is setting an appointment. You're going to get pushback. Sally's going to go, hey, blah, 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 blah. People are complacent. And your next line is going to be the same thing. It's going to be, hey, look, Sally, I get busy. I don't want you using the Walmart greeter plan to fill in the $38,000 shortfall. I'm going to pencil you in for 3 o'clock on Friday. If something comes up, we'll get it rearranged. Plan on seeing me then. That's the difference, I think, and Casey and I were talking about this earlier this morning, between the agents that are successful and the agents that aren't, is being able to schedule that second appointment. So, that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview about the appointment thing. Casey's on here. I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about our platform, the calendar, what it looks like to register, and what your next step in the process will be, which we would send you to Lisa after that. And then Lisa and her team will send you back to Casey or I or one of the other people on our sales team, and we'll walk you through that process. But Casey, I'm going to let you jump on here really quick, brother.
Thanks, Rob. Casey Long here, the VP of Sales. Everyone always asks me and Rob what the turnaround time is from sign up, and it's quite quick. There's really only 3 steps that are completed once you sign up. Sign up process is very easy. Those 3 steps are, adding a credit card into the system so that we can bill you on the day of the appointment. And like Rob said, there are no other fees. There's no monthlies or weeklies. Those have been waived, and we have some negotiations with the IAMS group, to reduce or eliminate the sign-up fees. So there are no sign-up fees. The second step once you sign up is setting up your calendar to block off the times when you're not available. Our daily business hours are 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. So if you leave your calendar wide open, there's an opportunity for the client to create the appointment, anytime in between those hours. But the good part about our system is you can shrink those available hours down. If you want to be available or only want to run the appointments on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you would just block out the times, all other times on your calendar, and leave open Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So we're here to supplement, what you currently have going on in your business. And, I have advisors running 2 appointments a week. I have advisors running as many as we will put on their calendar. And it's completely up to you. That variable is your calendar availability. And the third step that you would have to complete, this is the other variable, are, how many markets you have in your back office. And you are adding, all the way down to the exact VA hospital name if you're running federal hospitals. And, so if it's Las Vegas VA Hospital, if that's a thing, as an example, you would add Las Vegas VA Hospital and all other VA hospitals that you want to work. If your appointment volume isn't up to, your expectations, we just say add more hospitals. And as Rob stated earlier, we're adding hospitals on the daily. If you see an area, if you see a hospital in your area and it's not in our system, it's very simple to request through Rob and I, and we'll get that to the data processing department, and we'll add that, VA hospital immediately. As soon as we process the data, you'll be on that hospital as well. So if you don't see something, you add it or request it from us. Within a week, you'll have it in your back office, and we'll be running that for you.
Hey, Casey.
Yeah.
Can we also talk a little bit about the other categories
Of course.
and, like colleges? We're still adding
Yeah.
some colleges as well. So, I mean, this isn't just federal leads, guys. We've got more opportunity for you, and I'll
Yeah.
let Casey chime in on that too.
Yeah. There's actually four, categories of locations or, markets that you can add. The first one is K through 12 public schools. So any public K through 12 school can be added. We probably have about 90% of that data, 90% plus of that data already in our back office. The second category or market is public colleges and universities. So any public college and university in, the United States, all of their employees have pensions as well. So you can add those as well. And the third market is the city, county, and municipality market. So anybody that has a pension in that umbrella. So it could be, county sheriff, city mayors, county mayor, if it's anybody basically with a pension, administrators in that market itself. So there's actually four. Federal is just our newest, market. I would say, colleges, we probably have about 90% of the colleges in the country. And city counties, we're adding daily as well. So those are the four markets that you can add. Those are really the three steps. So it's, add markets, set up your calendar to block out times if you want, and add a credit card into the system. We bill on the day of the appointment or the night of the appointment, because we will send a reminder to the client the day before the appointment, allowing them, to cancel or reschedule. So can't really bill you the day it's created because of that. So we bill on the night of the appointment. And I'll kind of chime in on a couple things that Lisa and Rob both said. It is a producer's program. And Lisa mentioned being a closer. They aren't going to have their checkbook out, but the goal of this program is, let's just say you do 7 appointments your first week, and you create 6 second appointments for the following week, and then you have 7 new appointments your second week. You can see how it kind of stacks. All of a sudden, you have 13 appointments your second week, and you gain that momentum. And that's what I see with my most successful advisors on the system, is the momentum that they create. Especially if you're doing, let's just say, federal hospitals, and you're staying in the federal hospital market. I mean, it's one pension across the board. All of a sudden I have advisors, running 10 different federal hospitals, off one single account, and, doing 20 appointments a week because they're doing second appointments and third appointments, and it keeps you busy. And I mean, I think that's the hardest part in this industry, as Rob said as well, is just keeping you busy, and getting that momentum.
Yeah, Case, can I pipe in on that? One thing too,
Mhm.
in case you brought up a good point is, if you guys are multi-state licensed, we have a group of agents. I know Casey's got a pretty big group of guys down in Florida that are originally from Pennsylvania. They're licensed in both states. They're running both states. I mean, now if you're jumping into the college market and the K through 12 market or any of those other markets, of course, you're going to need to learn those pensions, which, IMES and the people there can help you guys out a little bit with. But, the nice thing in the federal market, you have essentially one pension, at least a pension that's been going on, I think, since 1983. So anybody prior to that could be on an earlier one. But most of those people are already in the retired phase. But there's a lot of opportunity there. The other thing is too, where IMES really can help you guys out. And I think the biggest struggle, when I talk to agents and just seeing what they're doing is, most agents that jump on our system typically will see about a 2.5 to 3 time increase in their revenue. And why is that? Casey kind of just hit the nail on the head. It's keeping your pipeline full, right? And so, most of you out there struggle with, you spend probably right now 2/3 of your day trying to figure out how you're going to get in front of a new client. You spend 1/3 of your day, hopefully, kneecap to kneecap or Zoom meeting, face-to-face, phone call, whatever, with a client, right? Through referrals, however, whatever your means are. Well, if we can fill in that dead time right now that you're wasting trying to market yourself, you can see where your income can really accelerate. And that's what this program is all about. There are no minimums. There's no maximums. This is basically, like Casey said, hey, the more open your calendars, the more appointments you'll receive. The less open it is, the less you'll receive. And that's basically it. Anyway, I just wanted to make that one comment. I don't know if you guys want to chime in on something else,
No,
or
I think
Lisa,
that's
if you
good,
want
Rob.
to
I
send it
think
another
that's good.
direction.
That's absolutely true. Calendar management is going to be a key to success on this thing. I've had some guys that even they might be in, a rural area, so they just opened up their entire calendar, not thinking that it would get filled, and they end up first week, with
Yeah.
17 appointments, and he's
Yeah.
kind of,
Let me kind of chime in as well. So, rural areas, the South, the reason why, we pique the client's interest regarding, their pension and retirement and any questions they may have. And some of these areas are untouched, honestly, even if we have the data,
hmm
or very,
Yep.
very rarely touched. And, it kind of shows that, they need information. And, some of the South, some of the, less populated areas, those are probably those are some of the areas where we get the highest level of response. And yep, calendar management is it. It's easy to manage once you get the hang of it. The system is very automated. We've made it as efficient as possible. You're going to receive a text and an email as an appointment is created, as an appointment is rescheduled, and as an appointment is canceled. So we keep you in the loop on all steps of the process. We remind you as well the day before. You, the advisor, will remind you as well of your next day's appointments with details. There's obviously the calendar in the back office you can click. There's a notes section. There's going to be some layups, but it is lead gen. There's going to be some duds and there's going to be some layups. There's a notes section. People say, can I bring my husband or my spouse on the appointment? Well, the answer is definitely yes. And that's the goal. You want to get the whole household in these. And that's why, second appointments are most, very important. Get the whole household in. Most of these, decisions aren't made by just one member of the household. And, that's kind of really it. Get referrals. Referrals are huge. I know Rob touched it. Try to get as many referrals as you can on each appointment, and it kind of grows from there. And that's all I have, my friends.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to jump into the pricing. I'm getting some questions here. We've got some interest, with, if this is going to fit in their budget or whatnot. Appreciate that. Appreciate the questions box. You guys keep those things coming. So how much are the appointments? Well, if you went direct to these guys, what is it? 89.99 per appointment?
It is
Correct.
99. Yep.
Plus you have the startup fees and all of that jazz. With IMES, they have allowed us to provide a cost of $64 per appointment. Now, I want to reiterate, this is not a lead. These are appointments. So you have time to fill your calendar and just do sales. That's what IMES wants you to do. We want you to be out there doing what you do best, and that's sales. Let us do your back office stuff. Let Rob and Casey fill your appointment, and you go out there and you talk to people, because that's really what your job is. So 64 bucks per appointment. Like Casey was saying, you get charged the day of or that night of, because there's no point of, doing reversals and charges for appointments that might cancel or whatnot. And then going into the training, I mean, just depending on where you're at and what you want to do, we have some videos that we provide, but Rob has also connected us with someone that's been doing he's been on over 700 appointments.
He himself has been on over 700 appointments. So it's a third party to us. It's a third party to IMES.
Mm-hmm.
But it is an active agent. His team's probably been on close to, I would say, somewhere in the area of at least 3,000 appointments. But he's created an additional training platform, and IMES has worked some deal out with him, and I don't know what that deal looks like, but he has, I think, Case, is it a call once a week that he has?
Yeah.
Can you kind of
So,
reiterate, Casey, a little bit more on it?
yeah.
Because I know you talk to him a lot.
The value of the system of that training program is obviously a couple of things. The video modules. I think he has up to like 30 video modules now, some live cases that he does and he records, some
Is it
sample.
up to 30 now? I thought it
Yeah.
was like 19.
Yeah. So it's up there with the live
Wow,
cases and
that's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah. So, and then he does a Wednesday call once a week and he'll answer your questions. Obviously there's no cross recruiting. It's strictly for training. His last call, I think, had 30 advisors on it. You can sit and listen to that Wednesday call. It goes over an hour sometimes. It's a Zoom call. And you can ask your own questions, and he'll kind of guide you through it. He's a pro at the game, at these pension appointments. He's probably one of the best, and that's why he's training. I've seen an increase in agent retention, a large increase. Guys that were jumping on the system and falling off after a month because they weren't properly trained are now staying on the system. I still have them on the system, months at a time. So it definitely helps. definitely will increase your retention. And it just gives
Hmm.
you, the sales process and some idea into and some insight into how these appointments operate.
Absolutely. And I mean, I don't know, if I've been on over 700 appointments, I would think that I'd have a process pretty damn pat. So the guy is a genius when it comes to utilizing these preset appointments. He's got a process that works. Any of my agents that I talk to about these preset appointments, I strongly urge them to do that training process. It's 30 days. It's $99 per month. There's no there's no requirements, no lock-ins. I mean, you're not, same thing with Rob and Casey. You can try it out, and if it's not for you, you're not obligated to stay in there for another 6 months or anything like that. So all of this is walk away, if you'd like to. But yeah, so I'll be sending you all some information on that training. You could take it if you'd like, or you can run with these if you want. It's totally up to you. But we just want to make sure that we're providing you with all of the access to anything that will help you be successful that we can.
Absolutely. All the tools in there are important for sure. One other last comment I have too, is for those of you out there, some of you people are, hey, I've been thinking about building an agency. I've been thinking about, you know, bringing some people under me. It's my, nephew, it's my son-in-law, it's whatever it is, right? It's my girlfriend, lots of opportunity with these appointments to be able to recruit. So, think about some of the people you may have known in the business and you've had them try and come work for you in the past. If you can reach out to them and go, hey, yeah, I have an appointment setting system, you can bring them in under you and you start overriding those guys. The other thing
Mhm.
is like a new agent, some of you out there may have some newer agents below you. Well, they're probably not ready for these appointments, but the cool thing about them and the cool thing about them being virtual and the opportunity here lies is, typically you're doing recruiting or you're producing. And when you're recruiting, you're not making any money. So you usually have to have deep pockets. The cool thing about this is I can go in and if I'm training Casey, I can have my calendar filled up. I can turn around to Casey and go, hey, Casey, I want you on the next 10 appointments with me. Well, he's just listening in on the call or he's on the Zoom meeting with me just like he is now. And he's sitting there listening to my process and learning the whole time, right? As I'm talking to the client about their shortfall. And then once I'm done on the call, I turn around to Casey, I call him and go, hey, did you have any questions? What did you think? After I'm off the phone with the client. And now Casey's going through a rapid learning process.
Mhm.
And when I'm comfortable with Casey, I'm like, hey, Casey, the next 3 appointments, I'm going to let you run them. I'll be on the call with you. So if you need me for a backstop, I'll be able to jump in and you can redirect towards me and I'll be able to answer the questions you can't. And now when I'm comfortable with Casey, I can turn around to Casey and go, hey, let's get you hooked up to the appointment setting system. And now you can have your own process, right? And it's sort of like wash, rinse, repeat. So lots of opportunities. Casey and I have some very, very large groups out there, agencies. And some of them are inside of IMES, as a matter of fact, that recruit using our appointments. So lots of opportunity there as well. So you might think about that.
And I want to, that reminds me of another one of my agents. I mean, they've been doing these pair appointments for several years. At this point, they literally can't take any new appointments because they're still going back through all the current clients, and all of those came from Rob and Casey. Every single one of them. That's how they started their agency. Now they're, just brought on 2 other people that they're now training on these appointments to, start taking appointments on their own. And then they're just going to supervise all of these appointments and bring on more agents to, bring in new clients for their agency. So, I mean, it works. It absolutely works. Um, I do have a couple questions here. What's the average case size, life or annuity? I want to talk to you a little bit about the transitioning, and, this could be insurance 101 for some folks, and it could be, something that you haven't thought of before and you've been in the business for a long time. But, when you're talking to them, I mean, you got to be able to do that transition. Okay. So hopefully, so let's say you're an annuity guy and you just want to do annuities. You got to be open up to, other other opportunities like IULs and things like that, because you don't know, just like when you're going to go meet with a client, you don't know what they have. That's that, maybe they don't have an annuity need right now. Maybe they're, more of a life protection need or something like that. And IUL is a better fit for them at their age and where they're at in their life. That's kind of where you need to go. As far as the average case size, I mean, that's really depending on, kind of demographics have a little bit to do with that. Um, but we're seeing folks that are in this with, conversion rate of at least 30%, and converting them into clients. And, we've got, oh my God, what is that huge case that just came in? Like 1.2 on one of these appointments that the agent got from being on, an appointment that was provided by Casey and Rob. So there's definitely opportunity. Is every single case going to be 1.2 million? No. I wouldn't be here if that's the case. I'd be on my island somewhere. But there's the opportunity is there, and we can have more detailed conversations on that on a one-on-one basis too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there any other questions, Lisa, in there?
Um, you know, I think we're good for the, out of respect for everybody's time. I do believe we need to start wrapping this thing up. But
Absolutely.
I'm going to reach out to all of you. I'm going to send you guys all information, a short video on how this program works that Rob and Casey put together. And then I'll be following up with a phone call as well in the next day, or well, I guess tomorrow's Friday already. So hopefully by the end of the day, Friday, I'm able to get a hold of all of you. We have a nice turnout on the call here this morning. So again, I appreciate everybody's time and joining us today. Rob, Casey, it's
Thank
always a
you.
pleasure to work with you. I always appreciate the time you guys give me because I know you are swamped. So definitely appreciate you guys as well.
Thank you. Have a great day,
Absolutely.
everybody.
Have a great week, everybody. Thanks so much.